Since Donald Trump been out of office, the border been out of control. And from the looks of it, it don't look like it's going to get no better anytime soon. But this wouldn't be a problem if Donald Trump was in office.
Now is the time for Congress to show the world that America is committed to ending illegal immigration and putting the ruthless coyotes, cartels, drug dealers, and human traffickers out of business.
Well, the Biden administration just gave him a new contract. And Kamala Harris is not the border czar. She is the drug smuggling, human trafficking, Mexican job coordinator.
You had a message for would-be migrants. Don't come.
I want people to come into our country in the largest numbers ever, but they have to come in legally.
Do not come. Do not come.
Did you tell that to Willie Brown when he had his nuts in your mouth?
The notion that the border is closed. Why should they believe you when they know that people are getting in?
Do you think that Americans believe
that the border is closed?
Well, Lester, here's the thing. I've been working on this issue for a very long time.
The fact that it has gotten worse should let you know about your job performance.
Is the border closed? Do you believe that the border is closed, or is it open?
What I can tell you is the record and the process that we have been using to make sure that we do our best to secure the border.
It's open, not closed. The border is open.
We do our best to make sure that we fix a broken system that was left behind by the last administration.
Karine Jean-Pierre, speaking for the White House, blamed President Trump for the border mess, ignoring reality and the truth.
We're going to have 2 million people cross this border for the first time ever. You're confident this border is secure?
The border is just as secure as Kamala Harris' mouth, because you don't know what dick might go in or what words might come out.
You have 15,000 people marching up, and you have hundreds and hundreds of people, and you have 2 or 3 border security people that are brave and great. And don't forget, we don't let them, and we can't let them use weapons. We can't. Other countries do. We can't.
Congress should executive order that shit.
I would never do that. But how do you stop these people? You can't.
Well, if they can't get shot, what about monkeys?
There's no... That's only in the panhandle you can get away with that statement. Only in the panhandle.
Well, how come my grandmother haven't got caught yet then? Next! The border is so wide open, Donald Trump even crossed it.
That was not the easiest entrance I've ever made. My wife called, she said, there are helicopters following you, and we did, and then we went under a fence and through a fence, and oh boy, I felt like I was crossing the border, actually. You know, it's true.
Americans don't see a lot of that on a daily basis. What they do see at their own border, children being lowered over fences.
I was crossing the border.
She repeated, the border is secure. Now look at this video. It's from El Paso, Texas. Ask yourself, if the border is secure, when you're looking at that, 1,000 migrants arrived yesterday. They're sleeping on the streets.
Children coming in with, phone numbers stenciled on their hand.
A local official says El Paso looks like a third world country.
Or parts of Philadelphia, Skid Row, or Portland. Next!
But first, on point tonight, sometimes you hear something that you actually can't believe.
To me, it was when my baby mama said she was pregnant.
You have to fact check it yourself many times.
Yeah, go to the doctor or either the Maury Povich show.
And once you do, it is so searing, it makes your blood boil.
Well, because the monkey test said it was true.
But if one thing, just one thing, explains how upside down America is right now, consider this. The U.S. Army is telling soldiers who cannot feed their families to go on food stamps.
Damn, I'm on food stamps. You mean to tell me and the veterans doing bad?
It would be bad enough if soldiers who couldn't feed their families were on food stamps. That happened. We reported on it. It's terrible.
Tell me about it. I'm so broke, I need a 15% raise just to be poor.
It'd be bad enough if the Army said they were fixing it, but weren't doing it quickly enough.
That's because Joe Biden don't work at warp speed.
But that's not the case. The Army is saying, thanks for signing up. Thanks for offering to trade your life for your country's, but we cannot pay you enough. The American people will not pay you enough to feed your families.
And if you're an immigrant, we will feed you and your family. Next! The immigrants are taking Kamala Harris up on her offer.
Yeah.
And so the question has come up, and you heard it here, and you'll hear it again, I'm sure. It's why not visit the border? Why not see what Americans are seeing in this crisis?
Why let other strangers, not trying to be mean or, I understand that, illegal immigrants, they're having problems in their own country. But for us as citizens here, I'm located in California. Like, we already have our own problems.
And that bitch Kamala Harris is making it worse by not doing her job. Next!
We're here in Texas. I want to ask you about the border. Would you call the border secure?
The border is open. Do you believe that all the migrants believe that the border is open?
Yeah, everybody believes that the border is open.
Well, we are going to the border. We have to deal with what's happening at the border. There's no question about that.
Well, what about what's happening here?
With unemployment and everything else like that, with even trying to attain jobs, even enough money just to maintain a household. So how can we care for others who are not citizens, who are technically illegal aliens? How can we put priority for them over our own citizens?
Especially niggas, was you supposed to be one. You're supposed to be part of the club.
I think that there is no question that we have to do what the president and I asked Congress to do. Is the first request we made.
It's funny how the first request the Biden administration made was canceling oil and giving immigrants permission to cross the border.
Pass a bill to create a pathway to citizenship.
So in other words, make the illegals legal.
We should be working and concerned of our own citizens first, seeing how there's a lot of unemployment and a lot of other issues that are happening within our own house.
The border is secure, but we also have a broken immigration system, in particular over the last 4 years before we came in.
What about our broken system? Why are we not helping veterans?
I'm not talking about Russian troops going hungry or the Taliban not feeding their soldiers. This is people who put on the uniform of the United States to defend all of us.
Sergeant Moe, what do you think about veterans receiving food stamps? I mean, you are a veteran.
My blood just started boiling. You about to have heart attack number 8.
Well, we don't want you to do that.
Like, seriously, these are the people that are putting their lives on the line. So your little weak, sissy, pussy, pandering, crybaby, entitled ass can sit on your little sorry, weak, crying, pandering, pussy, baby, crying ass and do what you do.
But we're not going to give you the money to feed your family.
Inflation is now so bad, Congress is so dysfunctional, that the average American soldier cannot afford to feed his family.
These are the people that put their lives on the line to ensure you the right to do what you're doing right now, which is wasting your fucking life.
So what are we doing? Well, today, President Biden visited Detroit to talk about creating union jobs installing electric car charging stations.
While veterans who fought for the country is hungry and homeless.
If we can't pay our soldiers enough to feed their families, why are we talking about electric cars?
That's a damn good question. A better question is, why are we helping immigrants and not helping the veterans?
That's not a debatable point. But we have to understand that there's a reason people are arriving at our border.
It's open because we enter, we come in.
And ask, what is that reason? And then identify the problem so we can fix it.
Free. No problem.
Bitch, the problem is there's no problem crossing the border.
But it's open for you to come illegally, right?
Illegally, yes, illegally, that's true.
The phone, food, and the Medicare also free.
What's victory look like in this, or what does improvement look like?
That bitch is achieving victory because she claimed the border is getting better, and I don't see how.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And I would suggest to you that we have seen progress already.
There's been more than 500,000 encounters.
And you came illegally?
Yeah, we came illegally, not legal.
So Kamala Harris is doing a job well done. Next!
When we have 12 of the biggest corporations of America I convened them in my office, and they have agreed to help us work on this issue.
So Nike, Amazon, and Pepsi gonna help you control the border. Ain't that a bitch?
Have to put in place a law and a plan for a pathway for citizenship.
There should be a pathway to citizenship, but the way that things are going, the way that I see that is going, they're just trying to find the easiest way just to expedite people in, just to get them in, and give them the easiest way to citizenship.
Success so far is the bringing together of community-based organizations.
And if that's what it is, then we're just going to have millions and millions of people, like waves of this.
Okay. Do you have any plans to visit the border?
And you know that there's going to be more coming. So we got to find a way to stop this now before in the future it's going to be more.
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration.
And I feel like it's possibly political, because the more immigrants that they want to try to bring in here, it'll just help for them for political votes. That's why they're trying to give them more citizenship.
Well, that's not what the gay immigrant said. She said it was Trump's fault.
We had to fix something that was broken, especially by the last administration.
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point,
the Trump administration, which largely just tried to build a wall, an ineffective wall, along the border, and couldn't even finish that in 4 years.
That's because the Democrats and the courts was fighting against getting the wall built.
But there are still a lot of problems that we are trying to fix, given the deterioration that happened over the last 4 years.
We're certainly doing a lot more to secure the border, and could be doing even more if Republicans would stop their obstruction.
Bitch, what?
I feel like it's a little bit of a Democratic movement, seeing how the Democrats, they've been pushing more in regards to immigration, but seeing how if we continue to have immigration, we dilute a lot of the population with those of job seekers.
But Kamala Harris would know if she ever been to the border.
We are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border.
Madam Vice President, there have been questions about why you and President Biden have yet to visit the border, the U.S. southern border.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
Visit the border? Not today.
And I don't understand the point that you're making.
Bitch, the point is that you never been to the border.
And I'm wondering if you can answer some of those. Republicans have charged that you're not taking the situation there seriously.
But I have before, and I'm sure I will again.
And when you did go to Mexico, you didn't go to Mexico.
Republicans also questioned why Vice President Harris went to El Paso instead of the Rio Grande Valley, some 800 miles away, which is the epicenter of illegal border crossings.
Because she really don't give a fuck.
I'm not discounting the importance of the border.
Well, I mentioned it because I know Republicans have certainly come at you on this, but Democratic Congressman Cuellar has a border district has said to you and the president, come. You need to see this.
Several weapons I need to have here because I don't feel safe.
And I care about what's happening at the border. I'm in Guatemala because my focus is dealing with the root causes of migration.
They are like robbing stuff or killing animals to eat, I don't know, or stealing your things. So that's what concerns me.
And Donald Trump wanted to stop it.
There may be some who think that is not important.
We used to close our business at 9. We now close at 7 because it gets dark, people are walking around, and all girls, you just never know.
But it is my firm belief that if we care about what's happening at the border, we better care about the root causes and address them. And so that's what I'm doing.
Pretty much every day you see groups walking along the side of the road. You see groups in front of gas stations there. I mean, and people are just trying to go on about their day, you know.
They're witnessing and seeing everything firsthand. So I got to believe the eyewitness accounts first. So if they're saying that this is a problem and it's going rampant, I believe it.
Tonight, I am asking you to defend our very dangerous southern border out of love and devotion to our fellow citizens and to our country.
Because America should always come first.
Now, there needs to be something that needs to be curtailed to solve this and to stop this influx. So I do believe them.
And them are Latinos complaining about immigrants.
I don't know where, I understand that, a lot of them may be refugees from other countries that are going through turmoil. That's perfectly understandable. But however, we still have to take care of our own self.
You should tell the gay black immigrant. She said they're doing a hell of a good job.
And that's what we're going to continue to do. We understand it's not like flipping a light switch. This does not happen overnight.
1 in 3 women is sexually assaulted on the long journey north.
This is an immigration system that is fundamentally broken, and it's going to take some time. But we also need Congress to take action.
Congress needs to take actions on veterans on food stamps, too.
Of course, the president's fine to use the military as props, like the Marines in his speech about MAGA extremism a couple of weeks ago.
But he can't feed the soldiers that he used to show off his Hitler platform.
But being president, being commander-in-chief is a lot more than about laying a wreath at the tomb of the unknown on Memorial Day. This is not specific to President Biden. This problem goes back to President Trump. It goes back to President Obama.
Leave Donald Trump's name out your damn mouth.
History has done more for the cause of justice and peace. I want each and every one of you to know that we will always protect those who protect us. You protect us. We are always going to protect you.
Because Donald Trump always spoke up for soldiers.
The job of the commander-in-chief, first and foremost, has to be about taking care of those that protect all of us.
Tell that to all the 13 soldiers' parents that was in Afghanistan.
We're not taking care of them. Of course, the president wouldn't say this.
But he will speak out for the transgenders in the military.
No president has. President Obama didn't, President Trump didn't, and President Biden won't say it as well.
You are damn lying. Trump did say it.
And you just saw that because you just got one of the biggest pay raises you've ever received, unless you don't want it.
And tried to do something about it, but the Democrats stopped him.
I don't see too many hands. Okay. Don't give it up.
They did have to give it up because the Democrats took it. Next!
We need Congress to act and to work with us on fixing this immigration system.
What, about fixing the veteran system?
And what we're seeing from Republican governors is not the way to do it.
So breaking the immigration record is, ain't that a bitch?
It is, again, and I'll keep saying that, it is inhumane, it is cruel, what they're doing to children and to families.
The Republic is not smuggling kids or sexually assaulting women.
And if they want to work with us on securing the border, on fixing the immigration system, we're happy to do that.
Why do Republicans need to work with you? They didn't work with your ass on student loan or that Inflation Reduction Act, and that shit still got passed.
Isn't there some risk, though, that voters might feel like they're being lied to? When we're seeing images of, in El Paso, they've released 1,000 migrants on the street because the processing centers are overwhelmed there. How is that humane? How is that safe, as you guys talk about so often, when it's overwhelming border cities, and they're asking the Biden administration to reimburse them?
Like the Biden administration should reimburse the military.
She says they may be eligible to determine qualification. Don't go see your commander in the Army. No, the Army won't help you with this. Go visit the SNAP website or call the SNAP information line. The 1-800 number is provided.
And get these food stamps so you can feed your kids.
Of course, it's not the Sergeant Major's fault. He's just literally following orders. It's his soldiers are suffering. This probably pains him more than anybody else.
Well, he should have stood his ass up and been a man and had a pair of balls.
He's just trying to help. But think about that. We as a country pay soldiers so little they qualify as low-income individuals.
And Donald Trump tried to change that.
Does anybody here? Is anybody here willing to give up the big pay raise you just got? Raise your hand, please.
No, but the Democrats willing to take it.
Inflation right now is so high that men and women fighting in war zones wonder if their families can eat.
Or put gas in the car, or keep the lights on.
It's great. You know what? Nobody deserves it more. You haven't gotten one in more than 10 years.
And that is 9 years too long.
More than 10 years. And we got you a big one. I got you a big one. I got you a big one.
But the Democrats say don't count your food before you eat it.
But don't worry. We have electric car charging stations built by union electricians.
And food, plane tickets, and motel vouchers for the immigrants.
So again, it is a broken system.
And now we're not doing shit to fix it.
The immigration system. And it was decimated by the last administration. That is a fact. It was decimated by the last administration.
And how was that when it was at an all-time low?
What the last administration wanted was a border wall that was ineffective and used a use of taxpayers' dollars.
Taxpayers' dollars well spent.
And that's what we saw from the last administration. But just recently, CBP reported that that new wall along the southwest border was breached over 3,000 times. That new wall
is better than 50,000 border crossings in one day.
And between fiscal year of 2019 and 2021, it's required $22.6 million in repairs. That's million in repairs. That's what we're trying to deal with a decimated system that was certainly not helped by the last administration.
How much do the immigrants cost with just baby formula?
Look, we understand. I'm not saying that there's not more work to do. We are saying there's more work to do. We are saying that the system is broken.
Would you say that you, the sons of bitches that broke it?
But we are saying that as well. We have done a lot of work here to fix this system.
If breaking the immigration record is fixing the border, well then you fix the damn border.
And again, more individuals encountered at the border will be removed or expelled this year than in any previous year.
That's because the numbers done multiplied by 500%.
Those are the facts.
Do you have a message for the migrants, though, who are saying that the border is open? I mean, today we talked to a few who arrived in D.C. They said that the border is open. We know it's open because we come, we enter, no problem.
And got immigrant care packages in the process.
We haven't heard a message from the administration in a few months telling people not to come.
And done nothing to encourage them to stop.
We've heard you guys talking about trying to make it a more orderly process, but you're not telling people not to come.
And ignoring the fact that they bring it over fentanyl to kill Americans.
Department of Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas has been very clear. He was on TV recently talking about this, talking about the work that they do. And so I will leave it to the Department of Homeland Security to speak to that specifically.
Well, the Homeland Security ain't doing the press conference for the president. Your ass is.
But again, this is a broken system, and we want to see Congress act.
We'll tell them to act on the border and react to the damn hungry veterans.
Think about this. There are right now people wearing the U.S. uniform, wearing the American flag, delivering weapons, say, to Ukraine. Americans are giving billions of dollars of weapons to Ukraine. The soldiers who are delivering them are worried about putting food on the table for their family.
And they haven't been to college, so they won't get a $10,000 head start.
They had plenty of people that came up, they said, we could make it smaller. We could make it 3%, we could make it 2%, we could make it 4%. I said, no, make it 10%, make it more than 10%.
And the Democrats said, no, make it 0. As a matter of fact, make it less than 0.
Military officials say their proposed budget is a key weapon against growing threats on the ground, in the air, and beyond.
But also in space and cyberspace, dramatically increasing the complexity of warfare
that we desperately need right now.
This budget reflects that challenge.
Pentagon officials say the $750 billion plan includes building new equipment, boosting the number of service members by 40,000 over 5 years, and a proposed 3.1% pay raise for troops.
And is much needed.
Our force is our most valued asset, and we continue to provide a competitive compensation package
for the most important people in the country, because only the president's job is more important.
As we said, presidents of both parties don't care much about military pay. Their domestic priorities are more important than dealing with soldiers' pay.
Donald Trump was dealing with soldier pay and border security.
But some defense experts say the devil's in the details of the defense budget, which also includes billions for the president's border wall.
And that's why Donald Trump and some Republicans shot it down. Next! Because coming to America is more important than feeding homeless veterans.
But sadly, and then people are playing political gamesmanship with the issue.
And the Democrats are masters at political games.
There's been political gamesmanship with this issue. It's suggesting that it's a zero-sum game.
Hey, Tom, this is a game, all right, Tom. And the referees is cheating.
Right now, one of our inflationary problems is we don't have enough labor, particularly in the service economy.
So let the immigrants replace black people.
It's like they want to replace us. It's like the great replacement theory that I've been seeing and hearing a lot about.
Right.
A solution on immigration reform that increased particularly lower wage labor could actually have an impact on lowering inflation.
So that means you know, a lot of the individuals, if they come from other countries, you know, they can land they can get jobs a little bit easier, even though they might be lower paying jobs and like maybe warehouse jobs, other kind of forms of employment.
How is that not the motivating force to get something done here?
Those are employment opportunities that us as citizens should be offered and given first.
If you want to deal with the issue, there are practical solutions, which include creating a pathway to citizenship, fixing a broken immigration system, dealing with the root causes of why people are fleeing their home when most people don't want to leave home. And if they do, it's usually because they're fleeing some harm or they simply can't take care of their basic needs if they stay.
That sounds like what the Americans that's been living by the border town been saying.
For this wall in December?
Could happen, yeah, over border security. The wall is just a part of border security, a very important part, probably the most important part. But could there be a shutdown? There certainly could, and it will be about border security, of which the wall is a part.
Kids come here and help me on the weekends or at nights to unload the merchandise, and I already taught them how to use these weapons, and they're teenagers, they're 14 and 15 years old. And it's something that has had to be done because we don't know what can happen.
What do you mean you close the border and nobody's coming? What do you mean by that? If we find that it's uncontrollable, Josh, if we find that it gets to a level where we are going to lose control.
We don't know these people or where they come from.
Or where people are going to start getting hurt, we will close entry into the country for a period of time until we can get it under control.
The migrants coming in, they go into the ranches, they're affecting the lands. They're leaving a lot of trash. A lot of migrants are dying in the river.
Next! That's why Donald Trump was going to shut down the border and the country over border security.
For the entire border?
The whole border. I mean the whole border.
Too, it's affecting all those things are affecting the city.
And Mexico will not be able to sell their cars into the United States where they make so many cars at great benefit to them.
And now the country. But Donald Trump tried to stop it before it started.
But we're going to either have a border or we're not. And when they lose control of the border on the Mexico side, we just close the border.
In the middle of the night, I was in my room watching a movie and my sister was asleep. And her room is like towards the front of the house, which has the windows facing to the front. And she came to my room all scared and she was like, someone knocked on my window. And that's when I heard the dogs going crazy.
Time to get the strap. Next! It's like an invasion of the immigrants.
No issue better illustrates the divide between America's working class and America's political class than illegal immigration.
After a Texas rejection, on Wednesday morning, 3 more buses filled with migrants arriving in New York City. Women with children seen carrying little more than a plastic bag and a small collection of documents. This comes as Texas Governor Greg Abbott repeatedly sends thousands of migrants from the border state to Democrat-run cities.
Wealthy politicians and donors push for open borders while living their lives behind walls and gates and guards.
Off of taxpayers' money. Next! That's why Kamala Harris' house is now a damn border house.
This has been a busy morning already. We are going live to pictures from Washington, D.C. And the latest report is that there have been immigrants by bus dropped off at Vice President Kamala Harris's residence This is just outside her home.
And now Kamala Harris can say she got a damn sanctuary house.
You can see from these pictures dozens, I would say more than 100. I don't know if there are multiple hundreds of people outside on the lawn there, but not a small number of people outside, not the White House, but Vice President Harris's home address.
And the Biden administration is letting illegal immigrants in by the millions and replace niggas eventually because them immigrants don't believe in abortions or drive-bys.
Seeing how we're citizens, we're taxpayers, you know, we need to be taken care of first because this is technically our country. But seeing how the Democrats and other political parties, they're having this motion and they're having all this angst of we need to help out others, but we're not even helping out our own first.
We got homeless people living in tents, eating with the rats. Ain't that a bitch?
I believe now they want it to be like where you can be an illegal immigrant and you can just have like an H-1B visa, and after a few years of just working under that, you're a full-time, now you're able to be a full-time citizen.
Donald Trump was in office, that immigrant citizen shit didn't work.
It seems way too easy, and it seems that it's going to be way more of a heavy influx of individuals because we've seen those migrant caravans.
Tremendously dangerous people in those caravans, and we do not want them coming into the United States, and we're not going to let them.
So then in a sense of Democrats can say that, you know, we were the party of the immigrants, we tried to give them rights and everything, thus that they should vote for us.
Because we the party of illegals.
I live far from the downtown, but in that area is a lot of ranch, a lot of big properties, and some people went into the property and in order to steal something, they killed the dogs.
And the border is not going to be secure because if we continue along with these kind of policies, the other people from other countries, they're going to witness and see that if I can just make it over here, be able to attain like, you know, a certain kind of card or identification, be able to get a job, then all of a sudden I can be a citizen.
We're throwing out MS-13 and so many others. We're throwing them out of our country by the thousands that got in here over the years. And we're throwing them out by the thousands.
And they return them by the 100,000s.
Meanwhile, working class Americans are left to pay the price for mass illegal immigration.
And I also heard like footsteps and noise in the driveway. And so I went to the backyard, and I mean, I didn't see anyone there, but I assumed, like, you know, with all the stuff going on in town, you always see it on Facebook, stuff like that. You always see it on the internet that there's immigrants walking around neighborhoods to lock your doors and stuff like that. Even the local law enforcement, they tell us to do that. And I mean, so I kind of assumed, and I was there in my backyard trying to see if I could spot anyone, but I didn't see anyone. And in the alley, you could hear noise around. It sounded like people walking through there.
And niggas don't travel that far.
There is a lot of people coming here, crossing the river. And we live here near to the downtown. So the situation, it's not under control.
Because it's an immigrant takeover.
Reduced jobs, lower wages, overburdened schools, hospitals that are so crowded you can't get in.
I'm not really sure if it was them, but the next day we also heard from the local authorities that there was immigrants walking through our neighborhoods. So I'm pretty sure it was
increased crime and a depleted social safety net.
So as my understanding is that we need to close up our borders.
Tolerance for illegal immigration is not compassionate. It is actually very cruel.
And very dangerous.
And that's when, I mean, every day since then on, my parents always say lock the doors, make sure your windows are locked and stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty scary.
Smugglers use migrant children as human pawns to exploit our laws and gain access to our country.
Because if we don't do nothing, more people will come.
Human traffickers and sex traffickers take advantage of the wide open areas between our ports of entry to smuggle thousands of young girls and women into the United States and to sell them into prostitution and modern-day slavery.
It's probably not as safe as it used to be.
Tens of thousands of innocent Americans are killed by lethal drugs that cross our border and flood into our cities.
I do think that there needs to be some clarification on the immigrants, because as it is right now, it's not safe, especially for a lot of the ranchers.
Including meth, heroin, cocaine, and fentanyl.
Hey, James Touche. Nobody is safe from our friends south of the border.
You just try to, I mean, we're getting used to it already because unfortunately, like, nothing's really being done. Of course, we're grateful for all the law enforcement that help us keep protected and stuff, but I mean, when no like laws or rules changing,
the shit gonna keep on happening, and you and your little sister gonna be scared.
Another contention between Governor Greg Abbott of Texas and the northeastern cities that he has deemed a home for those who have crossed illegally into the country, getting the attention of the federal government. That's what he says his intentions are.
And they said kiss their ass.
We have developing news out of the Northeast. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis sending 2 planes of immigrants to Martha's Vineyard.
From Texas are waking up here in Chicago.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott sent them here on a bus and says he's planning to send more.
To make sure that they know exactly what border towns along our border with Mexico are actually dealing with.
What are the most difficult challenges right now?
The difficult challenges are we have, at some point in time, they have to move from here to somewhere else.
This is certainly the sight to see, all of these people just standing around on the front yard of the Vice President of the United States.
This is horrific. The cities say lack of notice about migrant arrivals has meant a lack of preparation for city immigration officials.
Local officials say they've arrived unannounced. Many did not know where they were. They're currently in emergency shelters set up on the Summer Island vacation destination for some of the most wealthy people in the country.
So their ass can afford it.
And that is the official residence of the vice president. So Kamala Harris is living and working there. And these immigrant buses have been dropped off right there. They've been put in her lap.
Hey, look, you said you want them, you got them.
For the millions of people who are here and are prepared to do what is legally required to gain citizenship. We don't have that in place because people are playing politics.
I believe that a white liberal should open their doors to everybody since they love black people.
This is a political stunt by Governor Abbott.
Since they love immigrants, since they love Asian folks, they love every damn body that they ain't got to pay for.
Actually, it seems like this is an increasingly aggressive campaign, not only from Governor Abbott, but you just heard Dre Clark's report about migrants being sent to Martha's Vineyard. Now, that's an island.
Right, we don't have the services to take care of 50 immigrants.
So he's flying them from Florida on a plane to Martha's Vineyard.
All right, Obama got a 10-bedroom, 8-bath house. I'm sorry, it's not Obama, it's Barry Sotomayor, who changed his name to Barack Hussein Obama after one semester at Yale. I always got to make sure I say that.
Now you have immigrants being dropped off in front of the vice president's residence. The goal of these border governors is to bring this issue home to people that don't usually have to deal with it.
In Washington, D.C., more than 5,500 migrants and asylum seekers have been transported to the nation's capital from Texas, prompting D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser to request assistance from the National Guard, a request denied by the Pentagon, according to a letter reviewed by NBC.
Biden wiped his ass with it.
Governors Abbott in Texas, Ducey in Arizona, now DeSantis in Florida have been saying for months, this shouldn't be just our problem.
It's going to be the damn Democrats' problem, too.
As for Texas's reasoning, in a statement, Governor Abbott says, quote, in addition to Washington, D.C., New York City is the ideal destination for these migrants who can receive the abundance of city services and housing that Mayor Eric Adams has boasted about within the sanctuary city.
His mouth shouldn't be so damn big.
He got a 10-bedroom, 8-bath house, Sasha and Malia 2125. They ain't there.
And we certainly don't have housing. We're in a housing crisis as we are on this island.
So I can think of 9 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms, 6 5 bathrooms that they can house the people.
They can have a sleepover over Berry House because that's what sanctuary cities do.
But New York's mayor says it's adding strain to New York's already stretched thin social services.
Move your ass to Martha Vineyard then.
And so that we can't house everyone here that lives here and works here. We don't have housing for 50 more people.
It's one of the richest places in the damn country.
A little over 4,000 of asylum seekers that are now into our shelter system. 4,000.
Well, California got 400,000. Next! And out of 2 million, I'm pretty sure New York got more than 4,000.
Mayor Adams announcing emergency measures to expand shelter capacity for asylum seekers on Tuesday, and now asking the federal government for assistance. All as the ACLU Texas and National call on the federal government to investigate Texas Governor Abbott.
Why him? Why not Biden?
Abbott says he will not stop sending buses until the Biden administration changes its U.S.-Mexico border policies.
Back to the Trump era policies. Next! And the money we save, we can get the money to the veterans so they won't have to be on food stamps.
Nobody is volunteering. We should not wonder why. Who in their right mind would risk their life for a job where leadership tells you to go on food stamps?
No one I've ever met joined the Army because they wanted to get rich. That's never been part of it.
It is, of course, a testament to our soldiers that they do it anyway. That's patriotism.
So Army pay has been chronically low for decades, 1-2% increases.
But we are not repaying their bravery.
Base pay of an Army private in 2020, $21,000 a year. Now, that does not include basic allowances for housing and for food and other items that you could add to it. But that's about half what a McDonald's drive-through worker makes in a base pay.
They're making the same amount as who?
We are literally sending them to food pantries and then off to war.
And they're making the same amount of money as people that have no skills and nothing to actually offer.
So you join the Army, you're not going to get paid well.
But that basic skill of doing nothing compared to putting your life on the line for your country is about the same. I guess to some people it makes sense.
Because it's not making dollars. And speaking of dollars, I want to thank Beth Roberts for the donation.
As long as, you know the adage, as long as we got the orange man out.
Because the orange man look out for the country, American first.
Objections in a letter to the House, saying the bill fails to include critical national security measures and to respect our veterans and our military's history.
What I don't understand is why do everybody want to be mad at one man? Look at all this crap around one man.
He also called it a gift to Russia and China.
Don't matter what they do right now. As long as we got the racists out of there, the only president that did anything for niggas.
That show you the power that he really possessed. If he didn't have some kind of power, they wouldn't hate on him as hard.
I'm like, what? That's why I had to ask you, because I thought I was going there for a minute. I'm like, you didn't just say McDonald's?
Then Joe Biden comes in with his chronic policies that increase inflation, even though they call it the Inflation Reduction Act. Your pay's still low. You're paying more.
There's words for that. Betrayal, disgrace. You fill them in.
And your command and your government says, you know what? Thank you for your service. Here's some food stamps because we've made you so poor because of what you now pay, and your base pay is so low you can barely survive. Here's food. I mean, it's beyond shameful.
And the Biden administration should be fucking fired. Next! Trump tried to fix it, but the Democrats and some Republicans said no.
The rejection represents Trump's biggest break yet with the Republican-led Senate, which says the bill will actually help deter Chinese and Russian aggression.
How did that work out?
It's a reflection of priorities, and in this particular case, chronically underpaying soldiers makes it even more difficult to recruit.
Soon we're going to have a military of the woke, transgenders, gays, and liberals. How's that for a safe country?
The move sparked stern condemnation in Washington, with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi calling it an act of staggering recklessness, while Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell openly urged lawmakers to bypass Trump's veto.
Because Donald Trump didn't want to waste no money renaming military bases that the liberal said was owned or named after racists.
Recruitment is already is in the tank in the military. Here, come join us. You can make $21,000 even though inflation's at 8%. Good luck.
I would have to say, fuck you. Shout out to Maggie for the donation. Good looking out, Maggie. Also, my homeboy Troy Sherman. And good looking out to David Tillman for the donation.